Another series dropped this past week.
Yes.
The first 5 episodes of season 6 of Cobra Kai, part 1 of 3.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get 15 episodes total of Cobra Kai season 6, the final season for the Cobra Kai series.
Did I binge it all 5 episodes in like a day?
Sure
I
did.
may have.
I did it over 2 days, so not as
It's
cool
about
as
2
you.
days, maybe.
I was 2 days.
It's fair. It's fine. Still good.
But Tone,
yeah.
Obviously, this is. I mean, if we're going 15 episodes, we're obviously going to be. This is going to be a long story. There's a lot they want to get into. There's a lot they want to tie up. Your thoughts on the first part of season 6?
Much like The Boys, I feel like this so far, this first part of the season is a little bit of I don't know, a letdown a little bit. I don't know if that's the right word.
Sure.
Maybe a little disappointed. I will say that Cobra Kai, like I know we just talked about The Boys, it's just a high octane, great series, but Cobra Kai is like DNA to me. Like I grew up loving these movies as a kid. The Nintendo video game, I've even watched speed runs of that recently because I'm weird about it. But I love the Karate Kid. So this series means a lot to me. Period. And I've been fully invested. This is probably one of my all-time favorite TV series, and that's a lot to rank, and I want to get into all that. But my point is like when I get ready for when these come out and I binge it because it like hooks me.
Right.
And I'm hooked. This was the first time that I felt like after like I took the first episode in, I'm like, okay, we're resetting, we're taking a breather.
Yep.
Episode 2 is kind of like following suit, and then even though it's only 5 episodes, it was more like again, and I binged it, so I say that, but like normally I would grab the controller and say, start the next episode. This one I wasn't so much like that, and listen, the series has always leaned into a lot of like drama, teenage drama, things in that nature, and that's part of what makes it entertaining, because it really, you got to look at the scope as high school kid drama.
Absolutely.
Now, there's plenty there for adults, there's plenty there for everybody, because you grew up with these characters, and it shows if anything, this series is great to show that a character can break its bonds from either side of where they are, whether they're good, bad, or they move between or whatever. It's definitely a really a good series about finding happiness and different things in life. You see that with a lot of characters that deal with a lot of different emotions. So there's a lot of great things to take from this.
Yeah.
But this first few episodes, when you get to the 5th, there's a lot of like slipping, like characters. You watch character arcs come from good to maybe kind of go bad, and then hey, we get a redemption.
Yeah.
You can only have so many back and forth redemptions to it. It just starts to feel like we're just doing it to do it. And that's kind of how I was starting to feel with this 5 episodes, is like there's certain things and certain, like, you guys are really fighting. We're not past this at this point.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there was some good stuff where it's like, oh, you see some really good growth there. So overall, like, I still enjoy it. Right. I'm glad that we left, like, Chosen around as well too, or even Barnes, but those characters already feel like that they're just, I mean, and maybe we'll get more, but they don't feel like they're as integrated as much necessarily. So, because I'm actually surprised that Chosen's still around. I didn't think they would keep him around because it felt more impactful when they brought him in as like a secret.
He seemed
weapon.
more like comic relief this season.
Did he?
Like,
okay,
like he
fair.
just like some of the.
Yeah.
I mean, he was playing off like the unwanted roommate, like the guy that overstays his welcome. They make jokes about it. And it was just weird how he just, like, Daniel gives him the story about, YOLO, basically. And he's like, oh, shit. Looks up his flights to Okinawa to go hook up Kamiko and try to rekindle that. And I was just like, oh, okay.
And that went nowhere, I guess, or whatever. So
he just takes off. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm glad that they got a plan. They know it's the end. So that means that hopefully they've got something, planned for it. I don't know. I feel like may have read, or you said that there's 2 or 3 parts. I don't know if there's 3 parts.
There's 3 parts. So we're getting the next one on November 28th. We're getting 5 episodes, and then in what is it? Early 2025, we'll get the final 5 episodes.
Well, whatever. Like, I guess just make it make sense and make it feel still like, if we've got to break a few eggs to still make it feel like it's gonna feel be Cobra Kai at the end and be impactful, then do that. But it just felt like, much like the Acolyte, it felt like a lot of characters just kind of getting dumb out of nowhere again.
Yeah.
And when you and as Rohit says, the characters are doing this when they should be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of confusing because we've come so far already with the series.
Yeah, you pretty much. I feel like you nailed pretty much everything. I think I liked the season itself as a whole a little bit more than you did. It's more of the same, like you mentioned. It's just a lot of that, soap opera, teenage drama. Some corniness sprinkled in throughout, but you usually have some pretty good story arcs. And I feel like Tori's was probably the best arc of this season so far. The choices that her character has made and where she's currently at when credits roll on the 5th episode. But yeah, man, like I think, and I feel bad saying this because obviously they're the two main characters, but I think part of me is just kind of getting tired of Daniel and Johnny always fucking locking horns 5 minutes after they shake hands. Like, I get it, they're rivals, but I feel like we've gone like 5-6 seasons now where it's constantly the same thing. They make amends, and then one of them goes and does something fucking stupid to piss the other one off, or they go to try to make amends, and one person says something that the other interprets differently, and then we're rivaling again. And it's just like, God. And then the stuff that they do when they're not around each other to set up these feuds. It's like, Johnny, I'm like, you can't be this stupid.
Leave
sometimes.
that to the kids.
You can't be this stupid all the time.
Right.
And Daniel, like, honestly, man, he might be the character I dislike the most in the show. Like, Daniel is fucking annoying to me. He's a whiny ass bitch. But I mean, I understand he's got to deal with Johnny, who makes all sorts of fucking dumb decisions all the time. So I'd probably be a whiny ass bitch too if a guy I'm partnered with just constantly is a reckless cannon out there and just causing issues everywhere. But I also feel like after 5 or 6 seasons, dude, if you and I were doing this show for a year and we fucking were constantly bickering, we would have been like, I'm good with this. One season, I'm good with this. And for them to be in this partnership for this long because of their egos, even then I feel like they would just be like, you know what, fuck this, I'm done with you, dude. And we kind of get that at the end of this first part of the series. So I mean, their beef is getting annoying. The Mike Barnes stuff was fucking weird to me. Like,
very weird. I thought it was cool that they brought him in.
Yeah, man. Like last season when they brought him in, I was
and
like,
be
cool,
a hard
Mike
ass?
Barnes, like cool.
Yeah,
and then the way they use him this season, like for like one episode, I was like, oh, this is fucking lame. Him and Johnny square off in what seemed like just the fucking most useless fight ever. So I mean that was weird, and then he just leaves. Like Mike Barnes just leaves. I'm like, oh, okay,
make another chair.
The Kreese stuff at the beginning of the season, I actually thought was really good when he went back to where was he? Korea. Yeah, and he meets with his own sensei or whatever, and he has to go through like these trials and tribulations or whatever to kind of like regain the trust or to be able to be a sensei there. I thought all that stuff was cool, but then he just randomly shows up in the U.S. where he's like a wanted felon, and just so it's as a plot device to sway a character one way or the other. And I was just like, okay. I mean, that's kind of lame. I mean, everything was good with Kreese up until that point, but thankfully, so these guys just fight each other over and over and still hang out seems reasonable. It's reasonable. Like I argue with some of my friends all the time, but at the same time, these people like just do it to piss each other off. Like there's no like, oh, I'm doing it because I know it'll rub them the wrong way. They just do shit without thinking at all. It's just like after 1 or 2 seasons, then I would expect a compromise. 6 seasons in, and we're still doing dumb shit and fighting all the time. It's just like, okay. I mean, like you said, leave it to the kids. There's enough drama there for everybody. We don't need Daniel and Johnny to keep locking horns every 5 minutes after they just made up 2 minutes before that.
Yeah.
It's just really drug out. And but thankfully, in my opinion, I thought the last episode was the best episode. And the way they set things up for the next 5 episodes, I'm actually really fucking hyped for that.
I'm so excited.
Kreese comes back into play.
Yeah.
There's some switching, but there is some other things going on with the Cobra, not the Cobra Kai, with the Miyagi-Do. Like the one thing with Devin, which she does to Kenny, like, is that just gonna slide? Like, is there no repercussions? I mean, Kenny's not coming to Barcelona now, right? I mean, I didn't understand that. I was like, okay, are we just letting this slide?
I thought that was really an interesting play of the character as well, too.
I didn't like that at all. I was like, this is I just didn't get that at all.
There's some questionable things they're trying to do to add extra drama. Just feels like a knee-jerk reaction instead of being authentic.
Yeah, it's weird. And like you said, though, it's just so it is one of those shows where I do love how characters who you think are a bad person they kind of show that they have another side to him, like I think it was Kenny's brother. When they had the fight at the batting cage, and then he goes home and talks to Kenny. He's like, "Hey man, they could have kept kicking your ass, but they didn't." And like his brother shows like a sympathetic side to help him, like Kenny, like, "Hey, look, man, you're going down the wrong road," which is cool because you don't expect that from his character early on. It's like, oh, he's gonna fucking beat the shit out of everybody, but then he doesn't, and he ends up being like a good person. So I love how the characters are like that. You think someone's seedy or you think someone's shady, but then they show you another side to him, like, oh, okay, that adds some depth to a character, and I can appreciate that. But yeah, some of these other characters, I'm just like, you're fucking stupid, and Daniel is fucking annoying. Yeah. So there's some things they need to work on for the next season, or for the next part, and hopefully they'll address some of those things, and the story will tighten up a little bit, and things get more exciting. But I'm really excited for the next part because, like I said, the way this last episode ended got me hyped for it. So, but no, let us know what you think of Cobra Kai Season 6 so far. The first 5 episodes are available now on Netflix. Go out and binge them. And then on November 28th, which I think is that Thanksgiving weekend? Man, another holiday weekend to sit down and watch. Hopefully, John, I hope Daniel gets his fucking ass kicked at some point because he's driving me nuts. Just constantly bitching and whining. And then he finds out something about Miyagi. He's like, I don't know if I can trust Miyagi. I'm just like, shut the fuck up, dude. It's so annoying. It's so annoying.
It really is.
But, yeah, let us know in the comments below what you thought of this season. What are you hoping to see? What are some of the story arcs that have been building up for the next 5 episodes that you're excited for? Sound off in the comments below.